Hi guys, Harry Yotis here, professional trader for 20 years now. Started my career in 2005 and still alive in 2026. Well, today's the Monday, February 9th, 2026, the second week of February, off to a great start. The market here, S&P 500 daily chart, it's up about 0.5%, okay? And basically today we have follow through Monday. Friday we were hoping was the end of this capitulation move, a minus 3% move due to Bitcoin tanking. And on Friday, after this big giant candle, we were hoping that that move is over. It looked like the odds were with us. And I was hoping, if we were looking at the VIX, that we would have another day, another up day or a slight down day, and that's exactly what we got. An up day in the market means the VIX is going down, and I suspect we have multi-weeks of down VIX, which means up SPY. Of course, not every day, but generally speaking, we have an upward drift. So let's talk about the technical picture. As always, we start with that. It's bullish. We were back above the 50-day moving average here. I'm bringing the moving averages. And today we closed above not just the 50, but even the short-term moving averages that you see here. And every moving average is stacked above the other one. So the short term are stacked above the medium term, are stacked above the long term. All upward sloping. There's nothing else in DB said. We recaptured the 50 and we're following through, hence follow through Monday. Looking good. So the technical picture is bullish. As always, we pair it with the sentiment and we look at the fear greed index. Basically neutral. We were at fear, and because of two big up days, we're back to neutral, but like 48, not even 50. A little bit below neutral. All the sub indices are, well, balanced. Some are still at extreme greed. We still have fear on the momentum. And of course, the put call ratio is still at extreme fear. Everything is, the market volatility is neutral. We just looked at the VIX and we saw why. I'll bring it back up again. You guys saw it. We really spiked up into the 23 level at extremes, and then we had two down days to bring it back down to the 17. It can drop all the way back to 14 and even lower around this level. Look, we can drop at this level and stay protractedly low for a long time, which means a slow grind upward in the market. And if we look at the RSI, it's very neutral. We have plenty of room to go to new highs. I suspect that after this down move, we go into new highs, okay? And the fear and greed index supports it because we're still at neutral. We barely spent 2 days of greed back at this point right here. And anything tank this, any small little fearful event will tank this market, bring these things back down to fear, which gives us more fuel to go even higher. So this is a bull market. You know, it's very, very difficult to stop a bull market once it's in process. Don't bet against it, okay? Nothing that I see out there in terms of technical, fundamental, or even sentimental, if you will derail this market. Of course, this is all things being equal. Something could happen tomorrow, war, whatever. Trump does something. It'll tank it for a little while, I suspect, and then we go back up, okay? But so far, stay bullish, okay? Follow through Monday. We'll just discuss what we were talking about on Friday in the follow through, mainly Bitcoin, okay? Let's go back to Bitcoin. It all hinges on Bitcoin, I think, at this point. We got this big capitulation day, which broke this big level, 73 level that goes, 73K level that goes all the way back to 2024, as you know. But I'm still waiting for it. These 2 days are like Saturday, Sunday. This is the Monday right here. It's very indecision day compared to the Friday, basically flat. I needed to recapture the 73,000 level and stay around here and go back up to the 85 to 90 level. This is what I suspect it does going forward. It doesn't have to. If the capitulation is over, Bitcoin can slowly drift lower as long as no more levered buyers step in, and I don't think it'll affect the market. I think the market and other assets were tanking because of this capitulation and margin calls that had to be answered by selling other assets like SPY and gold and silver. Okay, so I don't think that happens. I think the capitulation might be over. If it's a slow grind down, it's still pretty good. As long as there are no levered players in Bitcoin that need to sell assets, I think the S&P 500 is good. Okay, so Bitcoin, I'm still looking for it to go above 73. That would be nice. It doesn't have to. I'm just saying it's drift lower. As long as there are no levered players, that's all we care about, okay? I would like for it to go higher because it will confirm the bullishness of the market, because Bitcoin is a levered play on the market, usually, not always, but when the market goes up, it tends to have a bid, okay? So in the follow-through, the first follow-through we looked at was Bitcoin, and Bitcoin still seems to be steady, but not out of the woods yet. Okay, the other thing that we looked at is gold and silver. Gold first because it's much stronger. It fell like, I don't know, 10 to, I think 13% was a low here from top to bottom, and now it's broken even higher. It's above 5,000, okay? I was hoping for it to consolidate. We might not get it because, look, this series of higher lows hasn't been violated. Yes, maybe in the wick here, but we don't care about the volatility days. It can violate it by a bit, but we're back to the fundamentals, back to the bullish fundamentals, carrying it forward. And the technicals here, the RSI, which I like to look at, is back to neutral. Plenty of fuel to go higher. Maybe we don't get that sideways consolidation. I would love it for it to go higher, drift lower, and play around these levels, okay? That would be nice, but the good thing that we see is that even with Bitcoin doing nothing, this thing, gold, is going higher, which means I believe the capitulation selling in Bitcoin that affects other assets might be over. The selling in Bitcoin, like I said, might not be over, but I think the selling in other assets to cover Bitcoin's margin calls is over at this point. We also had silver. Silver is the more interesting play here at this point. You know, I like gold. It's less volatile and it has a slightly different fundamental story, i.e. central bank buying. Silver doesn't have that central bank buying per se, okay? It has other things going for it, and it's more volatile. As remember, we said that it'll stay between these two bands of 117 at the high, 54-ish, 55-ish at the low, which is the breakout point. We suspect it stays to the mid to low range here. It doesn't have to, okay? If you look at the news here, we put some news events here. The thing that I keep looking at and mentioning in my Twitter space is the delivery intentions, okay? The Comex silver delivery intentions. And this is issued and stopped. This just means that issued means the amount of contracts that a seller says they're going to put up for delivery, okay? And the stopped is the buyers coming in and taking delivery of those contracts, okay? So here, for example, Deutsche Bank is issued 175 contracts that it says I'm going to sell. I'm going to put into the inventory. I'm putting it up for sale, okay? And these are the guys, if you add them up, that equal 175, we'll pick that slack up, okay? That's not the important thing. The important thing is this figure right here, month to date. 4 million, no, not 4 million, that'd be crazy. 4,061 contracts up for sale in month to date, which is by the 6th, which will be by the 6th, which is today, deliverable on the 10th. Okay, so that's like 4,061. You have to multiply it by 5,000 because it's 5,000 ounces per contract. That's 20.3 million ounces asked to be delivered. In January, the total figure was like 9,889,000. Okay, we're already at 40%, slightly higher, around 40% of the amount of the huge amount that was asked to be delivered in January is being asked to be delivered in the first week of February. Okay, this is, forget about all of these price gyrations, why it fell down. I don't know why it fell down 30% given these fundamentals. Okay, because this is accelerating. The deliveries are accelerating. Physical silver is leaving the Comex warehouses, and the Comex has about 100 to 110 million ounces in the deliverable category, okay? We're already at 20 million ounces. So in about, 5 weeks, the inventory will be depleted at the Comex, okay? That's just like, if you look, all things being equal. So like we mentioned in our X, this is a very, very, very dangerous situation. I smell blood in the streets, okay? The market smells weakness, and whenever the market smells weakness, it'll exploit it like crazy. Remember GameStop? The moment the market smelled that there were big players heavily short, it squeezed the crap out of those players, okay? If the market sniffs that the Comex inventories are running down, running down, and big players are taking delivery, it'll other players are going to come in, hedge funds are going to come in and try to exacerbate that destruction, okay, because they want to make money. Everybody wants to make money, and they will exploit a weakness. I just don't understand, as the deliveries were going up, this thing, big 30% hit on the market on silver. It's probably manipulation, whatever you want to call it. Who knows what it is? It's irrelevant. Even if it is manipulation, it'll exacerbate the up move higher if indeed these deliveries are going to continue, especially coming into March. March is the big delivery month. That's the first month that starts to be a big delivery month. And there's like, I don't know, maybe 50 to 100,000 contracts up in the open interest. I have to check that. It's 50 to 100,000 contracts. That's huge. If a little bit of them has to be delivered, if more than, 10,000 has to be delivered, it's going to be crazy. Okay, so it's something to look forward to going forward. Silver delivery is real. Forget about all these like AI generated videos that say this big, Chinese billionaire is short almost all of the Shanghai silver. We don't know. That's true. But we do know. Just stick on what we do know, that the deliveries, we just saw it here, the deliveries are being asked. The deliveries that are being asked are in huge numbers in January, and they're continuing to be huge in February. Okay, so it's very interesting to see what happens coming into March. Okay, so to end it, guys, I like to talk about the dollar. Okay, we haven't seen the dollar in a while. I'm bearish the dollar. As you can see, it's been going down since like 2025. Okay, this is January 2025. This is a picture of the Dixie, the US dollar index. It was at 110-ish, and now it's at 96.87. If you can see it right here at the bottom, it's 96.87, okay? And if you noticed, it broke it to the downside, okay? This downside move is big support going all the way back. Okay, if it breaks it, the next support is maybe around here, maybe at 95. Okay, that's a big move for a currency quickly, okay? So it broke down, false breakout back up, but it didn't stop the series of lower highs. So this could easily break down even lower. And if it does, look out. It'll be bad for the dollar, but very supportive for gold and silver and commodities, okay? So always keep an eye on the dollar. I'm still bearish on it. So let's reiterate. SPY, bullish. Nothing to see here. Follow through from Monday. Looking good. We had the fear and greed index at neutral. Plenty of room to go higher. And the follow through was because of Bitcoin. Not out of the woods yet. We need it above 73,000. It could drift lower, but I think the capitulation event, the levered players might already be out. Okay. And we can tell by looking at gold, which has been way, way stronger than silver. At 10%, 13% correction in 2 days is not enough to scare, sovereign buyers from buying it. Okay. And of course, silver, we looked at it. Something interesting is going on here in silver. Okay. Very, very small, tight market, and it's being asked for delivery. Okay. It's testing the market. The market sees blood on the street and is testing the Comex low inventory levels in the deliverable category. Okay. Keep an eye out. Silver is going to be very, very interesting coming into March. Okay. And of course, the Dixie, the dollar index, bearish. And if it's bearish, false breakout, maybe not, coming back down again. If it breaks this level, we're going down. Okay. The 93 to 95 level, I suspect. Okay, let's mark it right now in case we forget for future reference here. This is a good point, and it'll breakout point. So around this level, let's say. Okay. So that's it, guys. Very, very crazy stuff coming up. I'm telling you, this is not your grandfather's market. This is very, very interesting. Maybe it's a great grandfather's market. The commodities boom. Who knows? But it's going to be very interesting, especially in the silver space going forward. Looking forward to this week, especially on Wednesday, because Wednesday we have the non-farm payrolls coming up, which is the big number. And on Friday, which is in the inflation, the CPI, is coming out on Friday. So Wednesday and Friday are the big catalysts. And silver's coming up. And if you guys like excitement, tune in. There's going to be fireworks, I suspect. So like and subscribe. I really appreciate your input. And leave a comment, and I will answer it as soon as I can. So that's it, guys. Take care.